Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back. And as promised at the beginning of the show, I said I'd have some members of the Letterkenny Musical Society with me in the studio tonight. And March is almost with us again, and that would suggest to many that the Letterkenny Musical Society are about to take to the boards on Grianan Theatre with their annual production. They had a wonderful show last year, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I had the privilege of playing Granny Josephine in that. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for this one either to be on stage or even to see it. But joining me in the studio now, I have a long-standing member of the society, Giles Murray, and he'll tell me a little bit about it. Giles, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Jean.
So it's a long time since you and I met. I think the first show I was in with you, I think it was maybe 2008 and 2009.
That's correct.
And then in 2010 we did HMS Pinafore, and I was your little buttercup because you were the captain. And that's hard to believe, that's 16 years ago.
16 or 17 years ago. It just seems like it flew by, you know.
And tell me this now, we're going to have a completely different musical from last year, Come From Afar.
Away.
Come from away. Where am I getting this? Come from afar. Well, it is far away, but it's come from away. And it's a relatively new musical. I think it's about 9-10 years old, maybe. And it's got wonderful reviews. It played in Broadway for a number of years, played in the West End, and I think in the Bord Gash maybe
yes, it is.
2 years ago.
The touring companies have brought it as well.
Mm-hmm. Based on a true story. Tell us a bit about the background to it, Giles.
Absolutely. So it's called Come From Away, and obviously it's a Broadway musical, and it's based, as you said, on the true stories of what happened in a small town of Gander in Newfoundland after the terrorist attacks of 9/11, 2001. So while obviously they're the reason why everything is happening, but that's not, people shouldn't think, oh my God, they'd write a musical about anything nowadays, you know, but it's not actually about that. It's about how, you know, all of the individual stories, the humanity that was on display when, you know, those people who happened to be in the air at the time of the attacks. I don't know if you remember, everyone was grounded. So you had, you know, X number of hours to get to an airport and land immediately. So the airspace was actually closed. So what happened was 38 planes, in this case, ended up diverting to Gander in Newfoundland. And all of a sudden, the population of the small town of Gander went from something like 7,000 or 9,000 to an additional 7,000 people on the planes arrived within a space of a few hours. And that's basically the premise of it. So, you know, it goes on, they're stranded, they're on the planes for, you know, they're actually, when they landed, it wasn't like they could actually get off. They actually had to sit there because the people on the ground weren't sure, well, you know, are these more terrorists? You know, is there possibly terrorists on these planes? So that was a real serious concern. You know, so it took more than 24 hours before anyone could even get off the plane.
And what was meant to be a few hours ended up about 5 days in Gander. And she said the population was doubled in those few days.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine somewhere like a small town, Donegal, and double the population coming, how they were going to cope. But they coped really well, and a lot of friendships were built up during those 5 days.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, what happened was the community, really, quite remarkably, the community just rallied. You know, people down tools and headed to the airport, headed to the schools. You know, the schools were actually converted into like shelters. They had to source food. They had to, I imagine, raid the local supermarkets and, you know, basically empty the shelves to go and provide for all of those people. And they didn't know at the start, of course. Everyone thought, oh, well, maybe it's only a day or maybe it's a few hours, the diversion. But it actually, as you said, ended up 5 or 6 days before they actually left. So, but it's about that, the mobilisation of people. And of course, you know, it's all based on true stories and real encounters, you know, and the musical is very cleverly put together. And you're taken through this, you know, journey that everyone was on. And, you know, it's never was it more important than what we have today, you know, in how divided the world is today with headlines and what have you. This is a really, really good, feel-good story. Mm-hmm. And I guess it just reminds us all, and reminds me anyway, of the humanity of people and how there are good people regardless of, you know, the terrible circumstances. And I suppose when you really need people to show up, the people of Gander certainly did.
Mm-hmm. And when I was just looking at one of the reviews now of the show, and it was written, known for its emotional storytelling, fast-paced folk music and tight ensemble-driven performances, it is widely praised for focusing on community kindness and hope during a crisis. So that's just really what you said there now. And before we went on air too, Giles, you were saying that it's not Irish trad music, but there's an Irish influence. I suppose Newfoundland, of course, there's so many Irish people over there, and their music is quite similar to Irish music.
Listen, the accents, the music, it's a folk rock style. I mean, when I heard it first, I just kept thinking of, it's like Horselips. You know, it's that kind of style. But, you know, the accents of the locals are distinctly Irish accent. They have that kind of little bit of a Canadian sound to them, but it's definitely Irish, south and west of Ireland, and Scottish actually as well. So, you know, there's plenty of Irish influence in this, but it's not a traditional musical. It's actually very much a foot stomping. You know, the people in the audience will be enjoying this. They'll be tapping their feet and possibly clapping along with some of it. You know, it's really lively in places. And then, of course, there's some fantastic ballads. Sarah, who plays Beverly, who's one of the main pilots, one of the main characters in the show, she's got an absolutely fantastic song to sing, you know, and it's her story. You know, we're talking about the individual stories. She represents Beverly Bass, which was one of the first female pilot for American Airlines back in the 80s, and she sings in the song. She sings about, you know, all she had to put up with from the older, let's say, the older male pilots who believed, you know, it's not a woman's place to be in the cockpit of a plane. What's she doing here, kind of thing. You know, the music is fantastic, and she's got one of the best songs and delivers it, you know, like a true pro. Mm-hmm. You know,
and Sarah's been in a number of shows. She was Mrs. TV last year, and she was Morticia in the Charlie.
She was my wife 2 years ago. Yeah, I was in the Addams Family,
and she's sort of been in a number of shows. And you're a long-standing member. So the cast, and O'Donnell's in it, Donald Kavanagh, and Nicola as well. So the mixture of the old veterans, and I shouldn't say old veterans and young ones.
Not that old, less of the old, please. But yeah, but that's it. There are, you know, experienced performers and long-standing members of the society, of course. Donald, Nicola, Maria is directing it. Emma Stewart is the choreographer this year and assistant director. And, you know, the other great thing about this show is it's brought in a lot of new people, and you know, Patrick, who played actually Wonka last year, Abby O'Hagan, I think is Hagan, and a few new people from Derry as well. They come out, and there's Daniel, who's like an avid fan of the show himself. You know, so he's there, and he can keep us all right when we don't know a line or two. He'll prompt you. So, but that's the great thing about the shows. Every year there's always some people are there every year, but then there's always a couple of new people come in, and that brings new life and fresh, you know, ideas and faces and blood into the society, which is great.
And you were saying as well before we went on air that it's a smaller cast than many of the musicals, and a lot of doubling up. So you have a few roles yourself, Giles, in it.
That's another really unique thing about this is it's everybody has at least 2 to 3 different parts to play. I mean, and it's as quick as, you know, 1 second you're the police officer. The next minute you're in a different scene and you're like the barkeeper or you're the bus driver or something like that. And that's the same for everybody. So it actually helps to make the musical it feels very fast paced, you know, and it feels like, you know, this is really over and back tennis stuff, you know, left and right. You could nearly forget who's who, you know, I suppose, if you weren't paying attention, but it actually keeps us all on our toes, and it's a great challenge actually for I've never done a show now. I know there are shows in Letterkenny as well, plenty of them, but for me it's a first to do something like this where you're literally, you know, flipping from one scene to the next in different characters.
And a challenge for musical director is Mark this year, is it?
Mark has done an absolutely incredible job bringing the music up to, you know, the standard, up to the singing up to it and the harmonies and what have you. He's fantastic. and he's worked so hard on it, but it's really, really sounding fantastic now, and I'd be sort of, self-critical, and, we'd be sort of like, oh, well, we could always be better, But when you're sitting there in the rehearsal and yourself, this actually sounds really, really good. You're onto something special, and I have to say Mark has been remarkable in his approach and in his work ethic, and sticking with it. But we have a great cast as well, a good strong cast of people, and everybody loves the show, and everybody really wants it to really shine.
And you've done fantastic work on social media. I saw the clip of down, I presume it's at Carrickfinn Airport, or is it in Derry?
Oh, yeah. Emer, Neve, and all the guys, they were down and filmed a promo down at the airport, actually.
Stuff, yeah.
And it was so good. Really, really good. It's still on Facebook. I'm sure you can probably catch it on Facebook on our page.
And indeed on Facebook you've got a profile of all the sort of the main characters, which is great, and they tell their story of who they are and what they have interpreted their character as. Yeah. So well done on the social media front, fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
So now it's just 2 weeks to go until it's on in the Grianan. So it's the 10th to the 14th of March, and tickets, I suppose, available from the Grianan box office.
Oh yeah, or the website. You can obviously call in if the theatre is open on a day. But yes, the box office. Can you ring up? I'm not sure you can.
I think you can ring during office hours.
Probably office hours, yeah. But certainly the website is open 24/7, and obviously tickets are on sale. So I would advise people to not do like every other year we hear time and time again. Yeah. Oh, I was just going to leave it, and the next thing it's gone. They're sold out, and you're kicking yourself then that you didn't, So.
And it's like that ad for a well-known store in Letterkenny. Whenever it's gone, they're gone.
It's gone. That's right.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out, Giles. I'm sure you've come from rehearsals knowing
earlier today. Yeah, Sundays are given over now in January and February. It's completely, it's all-consuming, But I mean, it has to be done. I'm sure we love it anyway.
And the very best of luck. And I'm kicking myself that I'm not going to be here for it, but I'm sure I might get to see the video later on whenever it materialises. So the best of luck, the 10th to the 14th of March. Come from away. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
If you're searching for ways to improve your home's BER but don't know where to begin, simplify your search with PTSB.